again. It's me, Bianca, and today you'll be learning about how to use Figma for Dummies. Yay! So here's an overview I'll be talking about with y'all. Not only will we be learning how to design in Figma, so we'll be able to use the tools and how to make things like components and styles, but also to prototype it to make your designs come to life. So I noticed compared to other workshops, I'm feeling it's a quite unconventional format in Figma itself because I want you to be able to follow along with me and see how Figma actually works because of course like if you're just gonna listen to me talking for like how many hours will you learn anything? I don't want this to be like a lecture. You have to really follow along. I may not be able to see you, but I am spiritually watching you. Okay. You already know this. Basta, I've done a lot of Figma, so that's why I can teach you this today. Yay. Okay, first, designing in Figma. Let me give you an overview of the interface. First, at the top, you have your toolbars. You can access your different tools here. This is the desktop version, by the way. So that's why it can feel a little different if you're on web. Menu, you can rename your file here. This also you can find the share button, the button you can have the percent, and change the view to. To your left, you have your layers panel. So at the top, you have different pages for your file. You will see at layers. Spoiler, then below you have the layers of the page. So as you can see here, each slide I have is a layer itself. You also have your assets panel. You can access your components. That's a surprise that will help us later. Then to your right, you have your properties panel. This is where you can access most of the design things and for prototyping tool. And notice below this, I don't know if you can see it, there's a floating button here. Wait, let me, yeah, see this. That is a help and resources button. So I recommend you look at it because this is where you can access not just support. You can also find keyboard shortcuts here. And this, looking for this really helped me speed up my workflow. So you can change it depending on what you're most comfortable with. Okay, all right. Not for later. Next, going on to the tools. First, we have your shape tools. So if you remember UX UI foundations, you know how shapes make up your interface? That's why I'm going to start with this first. It's your first tool in your toolbar, and already on your drop down, you have like different options already. Just simply select this and just click. It'll automatically put for you, or you can drag when you run the canvas to any size you want. You don't have just rectangles. You can make lines, arrows, circles, polygons, even images. Yay! Cool. I will delve deeper into these later, I promise. So we have our shapes. Oops. So to resize and rotate shapes, just click on it. Yeah, there will be like a blue outline around it. you can just hold the corner here, then resize it to your needs. If you want to rotate it, you can just don't go on the corner exactly, just go near it until it makes like a bendy arrow, then turn. And if you want to make perfect rotations or sizing, like you don't want the proportions to be distorted, just hold shift while you're doing it. So let me hold shift while resizing this. Now it doesn't get distorted at all. Same with rotation. It's a bit more exact. Yeah. But this is you can also edit these values in the properties panel. See, right? You see these numerical values. The X represents the horizontal position, Y represents vertical position, W is width, H is height. Then you can also edit the rotation too. By the way, this chain means the constraint proportion so that it won't be warped while you're sizing things. You can also edit corner radius. That brings me to my next tip, smoothing shapes. So if you want to make your shapes a little friendlier, you can do this through the properties panel. You see this curve here, that's your corner radius. Just put a value. Ta-da! You see the curve already. Or if you wanna be a little more organic, click it to see these circles in the corners. That's edit that. Just drag it in, out. And you're already playing with the corner radius. This is only something to happen with polygons, but yes. If you click the three dots here, apparently you can smooth corners. Little subtle effect though. I haven't really used it that much myself, but it'd be pretty cool to share it. See, iOS, because apparently even iOS has standards for how smooth corners can be. Pretty intense design. Yeah. If you're not into that kind of pixel perfect thing, but I don't really do that much. What else can I teach you? Oh yes, the arc tool. So these are made from ellipses. You can use these to create semicircles, pie charts, etc. So how to do this? Okay, make an ellipse first. See this. Follow along. See this here? That's your arc tool. Ta-da! You're making an arc already. You can edit its sweep. The start of it and the ratio if you like donuts. I like donuts. So if you're into making infographics or you're like graphic design, I think this tool would help you a lot. Yes. What else? Oh yes, the fun part, styling your shapes. So you see the properties panel, that's where you can access a shape's blending modes, its fill, stroke, and effects. Let's go for that one by one. Blending mode is basically how it blends the background. So if you've used Photoshop before, it has similar blending modes. So let's try multiply. If I place this cool effect, color burn, color dodge, overlay. You can also adjust the opacity here. If you want more transparent, 50, lower, it's less obvious. Okay, next, the fill of an object. So here you can choose the color. What else? You have different color systems to pick from. So if you're not someone who uses hex codes, You can choose RGB, etc. And you don't have just access to solid colors. You can even use gradients. Here, real, angular, diamond, and even images. And you can fit these in different ways as well. If you want it to fit only, you want to make it style, you can even crop it. You can edit the image independently of the shape, and you can even adjust the filter of an image. So if you need to do quick graphic design, like edit your photo, just go to Figma. No need to open Photoshop na. So Figma isn't just a tool for product design. It's great for just all types of design in general because of really powerful tools like this. Okay, so we have our blending modes. We have our fill. Up next, stroke. Okay, let me make a line for this. It's the best example of that. So stroke is basically like the border around things. So let me give that. You can not only adjust the color and the opacity, you can also adjust the thickness of the strokes to make it like more halata. Then yes, now you can really see the stroke. Let me try this here also. You can also adjust where the stroke is to be seen. So you can have it inside the shape, at the center of it, or even outside. What else? Oh yes, let's go into the advanced stroke details. You can also adjust the cap. So that's like the ending of it to make it round. See, it changed. Square. You can make even arrows from it. Let me individually. Okay, also dashes too. We can put values for not only how long that dash should be, but the space. Let's put 10. Ta-da, you have dash lines. And join too. So that's basically how the different joints would look like. Let me edit this line to make the joint apparent. So I could go for a bevel, see if it changed or moving around. Fun. Last but not the least, we have our effects. Oh man, oh no. Okay. I hope my screen is covering much of it. So sorry, I'm sorry. To zoom effects here, you have 4 effects to choose from. You can choose a drop shadow. To edit it, just click the sun looking thing here. You can adjust the horizontal distance, vertical distance, the blur radius. So if you attended UX UI foundations, you would know how to make things look closer or farther away from you. Spread to, ooh, that is intense. I will change that. And then the color and the opacity. Inner shadow, layer blur, background blur. And for all properties, you can layer. You can layer within layer these. So feel free to play around. Have fun with styling your shapes. Okay, grouping objects. So this is a non-destructive grouping. So if you're used to other softwares, don't worry, this won't permanently combine the shapes. You can still edit shapes within groups. And what's cool about groups is that you have smart selection. So what is that? So see this? See these lines? I can adjust the spacing easily. I don't have to manually adjust things. Whoa, cool. You can also adjust this not just through the canvas, but through the properties panel as well. But it's cooler to show in canvas. Yeah, this is the size. So yeah, use groups to like help save your time while like laying out things. What else are groups useful for, Kaya? Mass groups, yes. So if you want to show only specific portions of a layer, then use shape groups to help you that. Oh my gosh, how to make groups in the first place. My bad, my bad. So how to make a group? Multiple select the elements you want in that group. Right click, group selection. Ta-da! You have a group. Okay, back to mass groups. Yes, so how do I even make a mass group in the first place? Okay, first let's try to replicate this example. Keyboard shortcut, you can just Control C and Control V to copy paste elements. And they're not just like inside your Figma file. You can do this with like websites to just Control C and Control V. So I have old image of me and I want to crop it with a circle. Okay. First, let's make sure the image that or the one you want cropped should be above it. Select them both. I used Shift to select them both, by the way. And you see this moon looking thing, that's your mask icon. Click on it. Ta-da! It's already a mask group. And what's great about it is it's non-destructive. You can still edit the photo inside. What else are groups cool for? You can make Boolean groups. So if you're into like more complex graphic design or illustration, if you're used to Illustrator, then you'd be happy to find this. So you have first how to Boolean group in the first place. Again, select both. See this? That's your Boolean group. You have 4 types, as you can see here in this presentation. You have union, so they're both combined into one shape. Subtract, where one shape subtracts from the other. Intersect, just the intersection of both shapes. And exclude, which cuts out that intersection. And since again the group's non-destructive, so you can edit the shapes within the group. And if you decide that you're happy with it already, you can simply flatten selections, which has one complex shape, one complex layer already. What's next? Okay, frame tool. So shapes are cool, but they need a home to live in. That's what your frame is for. You can access it in the second tool here in your toolbar. So what I love about Figma's frames is that first, it gives you preset sizes. I select this here. I'm given access to different sizes, like not just for devices, but also for presentation, social media, print design. You never have to search up the dimension you need ever again. So let me get. So mga org media people here, if you need to make a story, It has the size already. Saved you so much effort, right? Thank you, Figma. Okay, what else are frames cool for? Okay, first, layout grid. Let me get this one first. So layout grids help set up guidelines for your design. And you have two types of this. You can either make uniform, so that's just a normal grid. You can get your grid in the properties panel, by the way. See this. Plus, this is your uniform grid. To edit the size of it, just click on the boxy thing. And you can edit the size and the color too, and the opacity of it. You can also make use of columns and rows for your layout grids. This is great for interfaces, while grids are great for more precise sizing, like if you're designing icons. Center now stretches for the spacing between it. And remember, you can layer this if you want like extra guidance. What else can frames do? Yes, constraints. So these help make your designs more flexible. They help like save time while you're designing. You know how in product design, like you design for different sizes, and instead of manually having to edit, each one having constraints provides rules for your design so automatically adapt to, so that it saves you the stress of manually moving things. So these are represent. Let me get my constraints. Example. Um, shapes. Okay. See this constraints example here. You can apply constraints by you have to click the element inside the frame, not the frame itself. Then you'll be given the option to put constraints on an x-axis and a y-axis. So for instance, I put a constraint for it to be pinned left and right. So when I resize it, the arrow automatically adjusts. Versus if I just made it like the default, like left lang, it wouldn't move at all. I'll have to manually adjust it. See, Figma is so useful. Okay, what else can frames do? Surprise. Auto layout. So if you're lazy like me and you don't want to look at Figma anymore, please use auto layout for the love of God. Stop manually using things. So to enable that, let's get my example here. All I have to do is click on the frame, then click auto layout here. Then boom, it will automatically lay out things for you. So you can edit the direction. Here's my example. Direction, horizontal or vertical, padding, like the spacing between elements. Padding too, like the spacing all around. So 150. And even alignment. Right now it's not as obvious because I made it back, but yeah, you can definitely edit the alignment of your children here. And since it's auto layout, like you can just switch between elements easily too. Oops. Thank you, Figma. So when I'd be designing like buttons, for instance, I would just use Outlet right away. So, oh my goodness, did I even talk about how to make frames the other way? So aside from using your frame tool, when you're like using your element lang, for instance, imagine this is a button, and then okay, draw. I usually start to make my buttons like this. I type it first. Then after that, I would right click. You can make a frame selection. So a frame, then auto layout. Let's put padding behind it. Let's give it a color. Tada, you have a button already. Easy. Instead of just having to make a square, make a text. I did it like so fast, guys. Please save yourself some hassle. Okay, moving on. How to get your designs outside of Figma. Really do it through exporting. And you can, you can export pretty much everything, but it's best to export like within frames. So what you can do with an export, you can choose the quality and the format you're exporting in. To. You even see a preview so that you know what you're getting. No surprises. Okay, I know this is like confusing for most people, but what is the difference between groups and frames? Let me get my example from earlier. I'm going to make this a frame, a group, while this other can ungroup this is my frame. Okay, so let's go back to our topic. Okay, so groups, they depend on their child. Alright, so if you size the group, the elements will be affected along with it. Meanwhile, frames are independent of the elements. So if you adjust it, then it won't affect the element at all. I can click content here. So I can like crop it away. Yes. Also, frames have layout grid and auto layout and constraints while groups don't. So if you need a little more structure in your design, then opt for frames. Otherwise, you can just use group most of the time. Yes. And finally, the slice tool. This can allow you to specify a certain region of your frames that needs for quick exporting. So I just click drop down the average slice tool na drag on what you need, and easy export na I can get the thing I need. Very exact. Okay, let's make sure you process that. Let's start on our challenge. Okay, give me a moment. Let me just move this stuff. Okay. So I have my cheat example here already. I'm going to make a simple interface for you all. let's try to copy this with what we learned from shapes and frames already. Okay, I'm going to get my frame first. I guess it's an iPhone. Yeah, iPhone. Um, okay, one spacing tip. Remember the keyboard shortcuts? I'm gonna use that here to toggle the guides on and off. You can also use a rulers. I'm going to shift R for that. That can help you set guidelines already, but for now I'm not going to. So if I'm correct, I used how many? Oh, 16 rows. Interesting. I guess I may have like 0, but there's just a lines now. So I use this layout grid to help like space out parts of my design already. Okay, so I'm going to make that hero banner. This is for to do pretend to do app, by the way. Okay, I'm going to copy. You can copy from the internet, but I'm just gonna copy the image here. Control C, and I'll select it. Control V. I can mask group this so that the shape I laid out earlier crops out the image. I will align it easily. You can align. Oops, stop. Easy. Um, I can put another layer here to put that copy that green. Follow along, ha. Don't waste your entry fee, please. Thank you. On second thought, I will not do that. Why? Oh, I made it individually because I want to use the blending mode for this color. Okay, don't. I need cool working music. So I have this other color, right? And I'm blending with that to make it like um more blend in. I'll opt for multiply for now. Okay. Again, you can toggle this off by your keyboard shortcuts. Easy. Okay, it looks pretty good so far. Then I'm going to lay out this is a to-do app, I said. So what I would do. Okay, I would make a frame probably, trying to follow these guidelines. I'll put the bullet na inside it. Inside na. Yeah. Then auto layout. Auto layout na. Auto layout. Okay. It's a learning process, guys. Learning process. Struggle with you. Wait, sorry, let me check my. How did I do this again? Okay, another hack. You can check the spacing of an element versus others. For me, this keyboard shortcut is pressing Alt, so I can already see. Okay, pretty even spacing. Let me try it again. Restart. What's the size of this? I will assume around 24. Oh shoot, that is big. Okay, Trevor. Oh, it's not seen because it's accidentally in the mask. Why? I'm not seeing. Wait, let me remove this mask first. I think it's hiding everything secretly. There. Lol, what the heck? Designing is hard sometimes. And then pieces for how long? Sorry. Okay. Right click, frame selection, auto layout. Let's go for. Okay, I will click the. I don't want it to be even padding all around, so I'll click this. Then on top, then on bottom, 16. Okay, so I already technically part of the frame. Then I'm going to put a stroke. Oh shoot. What the? Where is my? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put make this a gray. Let's put that. That's nice looking. Okay, we have our bullet. Let me put this back. I'll group this so it's easy to manipulate. Bring this back to the top. Okay, make sure it's placed inside the frame so that you can do the spacing. I'm holding Alt. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, almost done. We're copying this. And then, okay, I want to make my life easier in laying out the others. So I'm just going to duplicate a few of these, select them all, then just click auto layout. Tada! My life is so easy. Despite my struggle. Okay. I hate good copy so far. Yeah. Let's move on. Okay, next, our pen tool. You like drawing, you like vectoring, this is the tool for you. It's the fourth tool in your toolbar. But before I talk about the pen tool, I first need to talk about vector networks. So these are, if you don't know what vectors are, they're visuals, they're created by vector points. These are connected by mathematical lines or curves known as paths. So you see here in this example, that's an example of a vector. And the opposite of it would be something called a raster image made up of pixels. Since they're made up of paths and points, when you scale them, they don't lose quality. compared to pixels, which meaning that's pixelated. Figma handles these in a system known as vector network. So compared to normal vector paths, you collect way more points. So how do you make a vector? You can actually turn any shape into a vector. Let's choose this. For example, just hit enter and it's already in edit mode. So what are the different tools? Your move tool, you can move different points. Band tool, you can adjust the Bezier handles, basically make things a little more curvy. Paint bucket tool to add or remove fills. And of course, you always have access to the design panel for extra properties, as you can see. Okay. Meanwhile, you have your pencil tool. It's basically your pen, but a bit more freehand. Just drop down, you draw, you have a scribble, and it's already automatically becomes a vector that you can edit. I can edit the stroke of this, for instance. Freehand stuff. Up next, our text tools. So of course, what's a design about text, right? You can access this as the one, two, three, four, fifth tool in your toolbar. Just simply click on it, and you can automatically type hello. Alright, how to make your type look cooler. Adjust its text properties, which you can see in the design palette. Let's select this. You can select its font or typeface, the style or weight of it. Make it bold. Bold. Font size, make it big. Hello. Now you can actually see it. Line height. So again, remember UX UI foundation, set the spacing around this. Go for put this in different ways. I'm gonna put in percent. Kerning or letter spacing, that's the distance between 10%. Out. Paragraph spacing, resizing behavior. So you have auto width, auto height, and fixed. As automatically it's auto width, so like the more you type, the dimensions of it will adjust. But if you have like, if you fix this for instance, it doesn't change, or you can make it auto height. Hello. And alignment, horizontal and vertical. But that's not all you can do with type. You have access to see these three dots. Those are your type details. You can do text decoration, underline, strike through. You can toggle bullets, numbers, paragraph indents. Letter case, you don't have to edit. Type things out manually, even a lot of advanced stuff. But honestly, this is really complex. Don't really use most of this. Only if you want lang. And of course, like all the other elements, you can apply other properties. It's like fill, stroke, effects, etc. And these can be layered on top of each other. Okay, I'll just briefly talk about the other tools. Here, of course, you have your move tool. You can't move things without this lovely after start, you can also scale things easier with this, so your proportions won't be warped. Yes. Hand tool if you don't want to accidentally touch your stuff, but you just want to see the whole file. You can use this. And comment if you want to leave feedback, ask questions about design. You can just simply click anywhere in the canvas and then leave your comment. This is an ugly. I can't even spell it. Sorry, it's ugly typeface. Oops. Yes, and don't worry, it won't interrupt like your design. You can only see it like when you press comments. Okay, absorb. Um, Another trick to save your time while designing, use styles. So these make up a big part of design systems. So what are styles? You can basically define the properties or attributes of a certain object like color, text, effects, so that you can reuse them. You don't have to like I drop the same thing and copy values all over again. So these are examples of styles. You can have text styles, effect styles, fill styles. So again, really useful for building design systems. If you remember UX UI foundations, you can use these to act to make a color palette for yourself or type hierarchy, so on and so forth. But how do we even make these in the first place? Okay, first select an element. Yeah, select my text. See these four dots. Click on them. Click the plus style. Create style. Ugly typeface. And then now you can use it wherever. So I'm going to type something again. Hello. Ooh, I'm not using ugly typeface. Yes. This also applies to others, not just text stuff, colors, effects, etc. Okay, last but not least for designing in Figma, making components. So components are basically made up of two aspects. You have your main component as you see in this example. This is where you define the properties of it. And every component has instances. So they're copies of these, which you can reuse. And they're all linked to the main component. So if that main component is updated, it'll automatically be updated also. Okay. Let me show an example. But first, how to make them in the first place. You can do this two ways. Sample button. You can either right click, create component, or toolbar. You see those for diamonds? That's a component. What? Ta-da! Now just Control C, Control V, and I have an instance of it already. So if I update this, I change the color. For example, the instance will be updated na. Save yourself time. This is also part of design systems. Really complex design systems that have specified styles for buttons, links, etc. Basta like they try to make things as reusable as possible for a more sustainable design. Okay, so components get a little complex too. What if you have like the same component but of slightly different variations? Well, just swap between them and like don't remake them all over again. So let me get my example here. Okay, so note I already have components for gray and the green icon here. So to swap, just right click on the instance. Then you can swap it select from the instance menu, as you can see here in this example, or you can drag from the assets menu. So this is great. Wait, why this is great? Let me go to the next slide. Okay, first, I recommend you build your components in a modular way. Because the module is like you start small, then you just build up things. There's also a methodology called atomic. Then, so if you can see here in this example, the designer started with, making components out of the small parts. First, like the icons, the text, and then he's putting them together into one larger component. That way, if he needs to adjust something individually, he could just edit the small part, not ruin the whole thing. And that helps like when you're swapping components too. You can just switch the icon here instead of like just manually adjusting it. Okay, and also overrides. This is basically what happens when you change a component's text, colors, and effects. However, it only can apply to these. Things like position, layer order are completely they're locked. You can't edit them at all. So I want to override the color of the main component. Let's make it yellow. Yeah, but it won't update the main one though. If I want to push that to main, I can properties panel, three dots, push overrides. If I don't want to be restricted by the component anymore, detach. You can also do this by right clicking, by the way. Same thing, different options. Okay, so how does modularity work? This is an example. Even if it seems simple, it's made up of so much ways you can make components. You have an icon, you have icons of their own components, rows of their own components, and these rows make up like an entire option. Yeah, I know it seems pretty complex, but I swear this makes like your whole design editing life so much easier. Trust me. Okay, there was a recent update. It's called variants. So you know how we have like similar versions of the same thing. Variants help with that. It allows you to group and organize similar components into a single container. So these are all variants of button. For instance, so how do you make this? Okay, wait. Let me get my example here. So I already need it. So I was able to do it. I just select both. Oh wait, first. I'll just pretend I'll make this its own component. and then combine as variants. So you're telling Figma that these two different components are actually the same component but slightly different, you know? Yes. And when you can define the attributes of it, so you define its properties. So that's the independent variables, the variable aspects like type, size, also color here, and then values. So what's the options we have? Let's go for yellow. That way, when you make like an instance, I'm sorry, make an instance of it, things should shift between it. Yeah. Another example of how I did this, my example component here, the icon here is already a variant. I can choose an active state, default state. Yeah, because these are variants. Yeah. Note, Figma already has a certain type of naming scheme. So let me try to replicate that. Oh yes, here's this example. So you usually name things with the name of the component and then slash the type, I guess the state of it. Even variants have their own typing style. For double click on this, you can see there's like code for the property icon, but you can also do this automatically. Wait, let me, how can I show this? Oh shit, I haven't deleted it my bad. Can I show this? Let me rename this for instance. Blog BMW. I will detach this. I'll make this its own component. Blog dark. So as you can see here, I started the component name slash and then the state of it. Let me combine as variants. And then it automatically names it for me. And then the states too. Figma can read my mind. No, just like gotta speak the language, man. Yeah. What else? Okay, back to our challenge. I hope you're doing it, huh? So as you can see in my example here, I further built on it. First, I added text. So this hello section is a group. And then inside it is a frame. I made the auto layout so I can just easily lay out here. Why? Because I care about spacing. See, even. What else did I make use of? Yes. Each checkbox here is a component itself. I built it in a modular way. First, I started the icon here, checkbox check, checkbox unchecked, and then I made it into a task of its own state. Simply just switch. Oops. Yeah. So if I wanted to, I can just make these variants. Yeah. Variants. So if I want to change this into an active thing, check. Tada! Easy. I don't have to manually edit anymore. So okay, try to copy this. You can pause this. Una, take time and going to drink water. Try to copy this on your own. Again, how are components used here, frames used here, layout, etc., etc. Now, because okay, if you're done, I hope you are. Let's move on to prototyping. Yay! Okay, let's go back to this slide. Marketing edit. Let's edit this. Okay. Yay! I don't know why that blob is there. So now you made your design, but how to make it come to life? I'm playing prototyping. Okay, so I'm going to be switching between these slides and the interface so that you fully get what I'm talking about. So you see your properties panel here. Just click prototype and you can immediately see the following. First, you can choose what what device the prototype will be presented in, the background, and then the frame it will start in. You can play your prototype again, toolbar, the play button is right over here. Sorry, it's 3:46 a.m. I am doing this just for you all. Love you. Okay. Creating connections. Wow. A connection is composed of three things. As you can see in this diagram here, first you have your hotspot or the user's interaction. Oh, interaction happens. Why does it moving? The blue frame. Oh, yeah. Next, the connection. That's the arrow connecting the hotspot to number 3, your destination, where the connection ends. So how to create a connection. Select the frame. You'll have a circular node here and drag it to the other frame. So I'm going to, it's my basic example. Already see it here. When you select something, you can already see an arrow and I just drag to it. That's my destination. Okay. So let's try to present this. See what it looks. Okay. Tada! Prototyping. That's the beginning. Oops. Creating interactions. Okay. Had to level up the connections further. So when you have to make a connection, you automatically see interactions here, and you can edit 3 parts of this. First, the trigger. Second, the action. What will happen after the trigger, and the destination. Okay, so first, triggers, they define what type of interaction will cause prototype to advance forward. Well, how when you click something, you drag something, so on and so forth. And these depend on platforms. So If you're designing for mobile, you may think maybe use of dragging to start prototyping. I mean interactions, but hover is better for computers because I don't think you can do that in mobile at all. So you have to do that. See here, my hotspot. You can already just add an interaction. And I'm already able to choose the trigger here. So I clicked it and it already brought me to the action brought me to my destination. Yes, that's what actions do. It happens after the user interacts with the hotspot. You can not only just navigate things, you can also do other things like scrolling to elements, swapping with them, opening overlays or links. Yes, these are different overlays. For example, here the center, left, up. Okay, let's try this with my overlay example. So I have this black thing will represent my overlay. I connected to it now. It will say open overlay. I want to open in the center. Close by clicking outside. Okay. I will bring the starting frame here. Now let's see what happens. Refresh. Click. Ta-da, that's an overlay. You can also put it at the bottom. Now it's at the bottom, left. Now it's kind of to the left, center. Okay. That was a bit clunky, right? But this is where the magic happens, adjusting the animations. So I have to create these. So, after you make your interaction below it, you will be able to edit the animation of your prototype. You can select its transition, direction it will happen in, adjusting the async, then the duration of it. Then you can choose whether to smart animate or not. Then you can finally below see a preview of how it will look like before actually implementing it. I will go over this one by one, don't worry guys. Okay, first these are types of animations you can do. So move in, move out, push, slide in, slide out, slide in, top, push, stop. I know it's static, so let's just demonstrate this here with my example. Okay, click animation. I will go for dissolve. So what does that look like? Refresh. So the destination dissolves into the frame, the faded. How about move in? What does that look like? What it looks like, guys. You can see this preview here. Move out. Push. So unlike move in, like the hotspot frame is like it disappears. Because Minga it moves on top, but with push, it's like go away, hotspot frame among G. Not making sense at all. I'm so sorry. Slide in. Slide in is kind of the same as push, but there's a little like fade while you're doing it. Slide out. Just feel free to play around with those transitions. Next, directions. You can control which way the transition will happen in. It's not just like to the left, to the right, you can do up and down. And again, this depends on the context you're designing in. So these are some screenshots I got from some of my apps. and Medium articles, it can go down. You know those notifs you get? It happens like downward when you're prompted to create something. That's from my MyFitnessPal app. For instance, when I press the add button, an overlay will pop up from below. Then that's my Instagram. When I swipe to I can swipe to the left or to the right to go to different screens. Next, async. So this is the acceleration of a transition between the starting frame and destination. So what does that look like? I will explain. See this scary looking thing? That is because it's defined by a mathematical function. So that's because keyframes here. I keep moving the dots. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's glitching out. The two dots here indicate the start and the end of the animation, the change in the attribute. Okay, so let's go through this one by one. First, linear async. Let's click on this, see what it looks like. So as you can see here, and in the graph too, it's constant speed, no acceleration anywhere. It's all like the same. And because of that, it can seem a little unnatural or robotic. I hope the ball makes sense. Okay, so a little more variety. Asyn. What does that look like? So as you can see here, and in this graph, it accelerates. Sorry. I recommend this for transitioning objects out of view of your frame. But the downside of this, though, it can be a little sluggish. But at least, unlike linear, there's a bit of acceleration there, so more variety. Somewhat. Next, ADAL is the opposite of asyn, so it's better for moving objects into view. So that look like. Oh my gosh, I hope the difference is obvious. Aside from moving objects into view, it helps for reinforcing important visual information. That's because the timing kasi of ace out it matches with the kind of function like when you're moving objects into view or when you want to reinforce important information, the acceleration there will help with that. Next, ace in and out. So there's acceleration at the start and at the end. So it's balanced, makes it smooth and responsive. Fast at the start at the end, slow in the middle. But this can make it a little unnatural and perfect if used too much. So just keep note of that. If you want to add a little more life to your interactions, though, you can. There's the back variants of these animations. These all add a little bounce, as you can see this graph here. What does that look like? So it really like moves a bit back a little before doing the animation. So as you can see here, it speeds up a bit towards the end. And because of this, it's like asyn. It also helps with reinforcement. It prepares the audience to think, oh, something's gonna happen. And it happens, yes. Meanwhile, Ace Out back. Same as Ace Out, just a little more bounce. It's a better smooth ending. Finally, Ace in and out, back curve, same acceleration, start at and at end, but just a little more bounce at both. If you didn't like those animations, though they're not to your fit, you can always make custom async of your own. So I'll do that. Wait, let me demonstrate. Click. I can do a bit of an ace in and ace out. Custom will are they updated? It, so you can adjust the busy handles here, the axis here represent the time and position of things. If you don't like manual editing, you can also put numerical values instead if you're that kind of person. Next duration, this is basically how long it takes to complete a certain transition. You are limited between 1 millisecond and 10,000, which is basically 10 seconds. So a tip I have for you all here is smaller the area of coverage is for your transition, the faster it should be, and vice versa. Larger, the slower. Okay, so finally, smart animation. You know how I did those ball animation? That's because of smart animation. It looks for matching layers, sees the differences between those frames, and it animates the layers between them. So it takes into account both layer name and hierarchy. Let me go to my slides, for instance, rule behind the scenes. So I animated between the ball down and up. I was able to do this because of clicking the box here. I put smart animate. But note you can do this for others. For others, it's for these. You just smart animate matching. I'll just go for simple smart animate here. Then make sure that I made sure that the ball was at the same spacing hierarchy. It's the second to the last in both frames, and it's both named the same. Because if it's a different name, it won't work. Okay. So with Smart Animate, you're able to edit positions, colors, opacity, scale. So you can do cool things like go to refresh, loading screens, and even toggle buttons. You will try this out for yourself, guys. Actually, let me demonstrate an example of that. Okay, this is mema lang, but like, let's pretend this is an empty loading bar. Empty loading bar versus full loading bar. Let's make that red. Yeah, but I'm going to wait first. Yeah, they're the same name. Okay. So I can smart animate the two. Just yeah, let's slide in and then let's play around. Let's see. Smart animate matching layers. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Ooh, animation. What? Okay, yeah. Okay, oops. Overflow behavior. No, like moving. I'm so sorry. So, you know how apps have scrolling? This is what makes it happen. Like from this example pa lang, oh, you can tell na, oh, it doesn't fit the frame. So I need to scroll it to see everything else. That's what happened. It's to define the overflow behavior of certain things. So to do this, you need to make sure that the child object extends beyond the frame's boundary. Let me get an example. Here's my example here. This is my frame. These are my child objects, and as you can see, they extend beyond the size of the iPhone 9 frame. And you have different options for overflow behavior. You can do horizontal, as you can see in the grab app of the icons, vertical, and you can enable both, like with this map, for instance. So preserving scroll behavior, this allows you to maintain the same scroll location you were in. Helps better realism. Oh my goodness. For vertical scroll, it helps create a sense of depth. Horizontal scroll helps save the user's location. So let me. So right now, this is my overflow example. I want to do vertical scrolling. Just checking where everything. Oh yeah. Okay, well this is the like one. Let's see. I can scroll. Um when I see, like even when I click it still preserves my position. Okay, yeah, that's where it is. My bad. So to do it, you need to click on your interaction, then click preserve scroll position. Let's see what happens without it. Scrolling, click. Oh, it changed. Wow, that was not a cool experience. Yes, so take advantage of the scroll position. All right, activity. So by now, if you've had like prompts from previous workshops, like that delivery app, or you did the to-do app in the earlier part of this workshop, try to make it more interactive now. Yes. Um, for this part, I'll just show one of my projects, animations, and how I made it come to life. This is an example of my hackathon. Wait lang, loading. Yes. Complex. I know. But wait, let me flex this first so you can see what it looks like. See? Wow, it looks so real. I chose the phone and the back background. I click on it, it dissolves. You can swipe between things. Okay, so cool. How did you do that, Bianca? That's so nice. Okay, first. Slowly. Oh, that looks so scary. Okay. Um, okay. Simple muna. Senior start screen. When I tap on it, I make it solve. Go to this. How do you do the full smart animation thing, Bianca? Yes, smart animation. So I had to like really make sure that each of the illustrations here, push, um, they were same name and same hierarchy. Not just that though, this onboarding card here too, I had to make sure it was the same. So that when I enabled smart animation on drag, I wanted this to move in. It would recognize that this and this are matching layers and that they should animate between them. Gets. Let me flex that again. Smart animation, smart animation. So I know it's a bit clunky and Figma, but I swear this, I'm so proud of this. Sorry. Get started. Okay, that is move in animation. Yeah, vertical scroll here. That is also moving animation. So note how the bar here didn't move. That's also smart animation at work. Let's go back. Let's analyze that. We're listening, huh? Um, okay. See this. I made this already kasi constant component. And when I put the interaction now, when I tap this, I want it to go to create screen and I want it to move in smart animate between matching layers. Because if this wasn't smart animate, then the bar would move and that wouldn't look really natural at all. Oops. So back. See, even the button, that's more animation. Scroll. Done. Confirm. Oops. Okay, what else can I show here? Animation. Um, create. That's an overlay. How did I do that? This is the overlay of and then I put the interaction na tap in this create button leads to opening the overlay of the create component. It will appear at the bottom center. It'll be a purple background. I'll make it move in from the bottom so that it's more natural. Yes. Cancel task, post. What else? Vertical scrolling. You can toggle between different things. Okay. this is another example of smart animation. When I click this, it expands to read more. Wow, it looked like magic, Bianca. How? Again, smart animation. Task, task, task. So that's basically 2 frames lang. Again, make sure the component is the same so that it can recognize the animate between them. More less cancel. What else can I show you guys? Statistics, vertical scroll here. Back. This was a hackathon, by the way, so it sounds perfect. I'm sorry. It is in 1 week lang. Yeah, that is pretty much all I have to show you, guys. So it's just some tips. Since you especially have a short time frame to design all your UX uni case study, I recommend you study the apps around you. Take screenshots, like watch videos, like screen record yourself so that you can imitation is the best flattery, okay? Then like apply it to your own design. Because that's what I did. Like I was, if you saw my, you should have seen my phone. I was like screenshotting like different apps, recording how they did their interactions so that I could copy them on my own. I asked for prototypes, how like just for design in general. Like I remember for my first UX uni design, I didn't know how to do layout back then. Let me show you all. Let me expose myself. I didn't know how to do auto layout or grids. I was really aligning everything based on screenshots. Okay, I don't think that's the thing. Another time na lang. What other tips do I have? Okay, yeah. And remember, good design is invisible. Like these interactions should feel intuitive. Like they shouldn't steal the spotlight. If you make them too flashy, again, like art is different from design. Like it might just end up ruining the user experience. That's pretty much it. If you have any more questions regarding prototyping, you can reach out to me for the following. You can see my portfolio there too if you want to get inspiration. I guess, yes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did the activities. Don't waste your entry fee. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening. It's now 4 a.m. for me. Good luck with UX Uni, everyone.